Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for attending tonight. Great to see some familiar faces and some new faces. Welcome to what we're calling our inaugural Aged Care Summit. We hope that the information you're going to listen to and digest tonight is going to hopefully broaden your awareness and knowledge of the aged care sector. And to help you guys make decisions potentially for yourselves or for family members and loved ones, family or friends. So again, welcome. Just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. If you need to use the amenities, the restrooms, back out the hallway and upstairs. Find gentlemen's and ladies' bathrooms up there. And also in the event of an emergency, please make your way out the same way you came in out that front door. So again, welcome. We're here tonight to discuss all things aged care from the beginning to the end of the year. There's a big process that's involved with understanding that journey. It doesn't start at during residential aged care from day one. It does take a bit of a journey, a bit of a process. And the more you're aware of that process now, as you maybe, like I said, go on this journey for yourselves or for loved ones, hopefully the better decisions you can make, be it financial or for the family at large. So, obviously tonight, anything we discuss here is general advice. What we would invite you to do after is reach out to one of the partners that you're connected with, be it MURO Accountants or GSR lawyers or ourselves, Block Depot, and for us to sit down with you one-on-one and give you that bit more direct and tailored advice that will cater to your needs. Okay. So tonight we've got speaking with us a few illustrious panel speakers and guests, starting with Michele from COASIT. So COASIT are a home support care service that also provide care services in the NDIS space as well. So Michele's going to talk a lot more tonight about home care, how that works, the journey there, and that sort of process between home support into potentially residential aged care. Joined tonight by Marcus here from Challenger. So Challenger are a large financial product provider. They specialise in providing and building annuities that help support not just aged care strategies, but also retirement income. So really important. We have Mr. Alf Romano here. Some of you obviously know Alf. Our sort of go-to legal, the man that's been seen a lot in the world, and we definitely lean on Alf a lot regarding our experiences with clients. We have Mr. Michele Romano from MURO Accountants. Some of you may know Michele, and some of his team are here as well tonight, which is lovely to see. And Michele is going to focus on a little bit of tax strategy and asset structuring in the lead up to potentially looking at entering residential aged care. And touch on some of those trusts and structures that may be available to you. And then I'll round it all out with a bit more understanding about the new residential aged care reforms and how those numbers and those calculations sort of do work. So, Mark, if you come on.
So my business partner does a lot more of the retirement planning stuff with Sebastian, but he wasn't able to make tonight, so I've jumped in his space. So please don't ask me the hard questions. I'll try and help where I can. A little bit of our firm. So we won some awards back in 2017. We're a zero partner firm, and it's a bunch of guys all looking good out front of the building. A little bit about what we do. So we are predominantly accounting and tax agents. We do a lot of work in business strategy. We do have a bookkeeping arm, and down the bottom we do have a tech consulting side as well. So clients want to build apps and that sort of thing, we can help with that as well. All right, so here we go. So, well, time is ticking. For those of you who are thinking about and looking at this aged care space, what we need to think about is essentially 5 years from now. Reason for that. The slide here just basically talking about assets. So structuring assets into trusts before entering aged care in 26, we're navigating strict deprivation gifting rules and complex mean testing assessments. Now, obviously, trusts offer asset protection and tax last minute transfers can obviously cause problems and reduce aged care fees because of obviously settling what we've heard. So we have about that. So what does this mean? So asset structuring the trust before entering aged care can be complex, strategic process designed to protect the wealth, reduce needs, care fees, which Sebastian will talk about later on, and maximising government titles like the age pension. In Australia, this basically is generally involving moving assets out of your personal name and into a trust structure, such as family trust. So there's a number of you have got trusts set up. In specific case, we talk about special disability trusts, SDTs, to alter assessments, obviously the income and asset level. And I just got that note there. Obviously, these strategies must be implemented well in advance, ideally 5+ years, to avoid that deprivation of asset rule, where the government continues to assess you as owning those assets. Really, in terms of tax strategies, aged care centres on reducing assessable income and assets, obviously to lower the means tested care fees and maximising the age pension. Some of the key 2026 thresholds and changes. So some of the changes that happen up there, the gifting limits. So they've gone to $10,000 per financial year with a maximum of $30,000 over a rolling 5 years. We heard about the hoteling supplement. So that applies if assets are greater than $238,000 or your income is greater than $95,000 indexed. Also heard about the asset cap home. Forgive me if these numbers are not 100% correct, but I think they're pretty close. Capped at $206,000 for means testing, unless a protected person resides there. So we talked about spouse being a protected person. And we heard about the RAD retention. So again, facilities may retain 2% of the RAD per year for up to 5 years, capped at 10%. So yeah, it's there's a bit of double up information here, but just so you understand, yeah, these are the changes that have happened. One of the critical warnings that we always put down here is that whether you like it or not, the ATO is obviously got a big focus on family trusts, and specifically targeting obviously income splitting. Okay, so it's all about trusts where we're earning an income and we decide to split that income with our spouse, obviously to minimise taxes. Family trust elections is another one. So generally have situations where you'll have a trust that has an income, so a profit, and you'll have another trust that has a loss. And a lot of people are forgetting to do these family trust elections to actually offset the loss against the income. So again, these things are coming under a lot of scrutiny. Alf will talk about trusts in more detail, but something to really think about. So some smart tax and investment strategies. These things here. So essentially, the ones that we look at to manage wealth tax effectively, your testamentary trusts, special disability trusts. The two are different, obviously. So the testamentary trust is established via a will. And again, this is something that Alf will run through with you. But these trusts allow for tax effective income splitting amongst the beneficiaries. Okay, so it's basically imagine grandchildren getting taxed at adult rates. It also protects the inheritance from the beneficiaries' own potential future aged care costs. Special disability trusts. So again, they offer significant concessions. Basically, you can get immediate families can gift up to $500,000 into an SDT without triggering standard gifting rules, as we mentioned before, and provide specific criteria met. The third one, the family home exemption. So keeping the family home obviously can be a powerful strategy. As we heard before, though, it is a little bit tricky. In 2026, if a protected person like a spouse or a carer live in the home, it is exempt from the asset test. Okay. But if no protected person is present, then we're only dealing with a capped amount of $206,000 being counted. And as we know in Brisbane today, the average value of a home, we're looking at about $1 million. So it's not going to really work. The last part there with investment bonds, and again, this is something Sebastian will touch on a bit more, but they're internally taxed at 30%. And they can be held within a trust as well. So if you hold it for 10 years, withdrawals can be tax-free, which obviously may simplify some income for aged care purposes. A couple of other trusts that we talked about Down the bottom, special disability and testamentary trust. The two at the top are an interesting one as well. So irrevocable trusts. So they're placing assets into an irrevocable trust can remove them from your personal estate, which basically means that they're not counted when determining your eligibility for government funded aged care or age pension. Family trusts, discretionary trusts. So these are normally used to manage income and assets, but the important one with this is the control. Okay. So if you have a family trust set up, discretionary trust, if you are the controller or the appointer of the trust, then the assets within it may still be deemed to be caused by Services Australia. So essentially what that is if I go set up a Romano Family Trust, then I have me personally as trustee. I am the controller, and so therefore I am subject to that. I think the same case would apply, Sebastian, if they have a company as trustee, and then I'm the director of that company. The same issue would apply. Special disability trust we've touched on before, but again, valid for people with severe disabilities. I haven't set one up. Sebastian, have you done any of those?
Especially,
you have. So they are off significant concessions to allow family members to transfer the money. And as of 2019, I think, without deprivation rules. So that's the SPD. The testamentary trusts, again, they're established with a will, and they can protect assets for beneficiaries, potentially minimising the impact of aged care fees over time. And again, we'll pretty much spend a lot of time talking about the testamentary trust. So this one here, we're talking about asset structure and aged care fees. And again, we talk about the 5-year rule. Okay, so the 5-year rule, we're basically talking about assets transferring to a trust within 5 years of entering aged care, can typically or are typically sort of treated as deprived assets, which means that they remain in your asset test for 5 years from the date of the gift, which increases the means test care fees, even though you no longer own them. Okay. So it's very important if we're thinking about today, fast forward 5 years, it's essentially we need to start thinking about these things now to look at how we can have these strategies to work for us. Deprivation of assets, what does it mean? Well, it's basically you transferring assets into a trust within 5 years of entering care, being still counted as assets for means tests. Okay, so effectively anything you do now in the next 5 years will come back and technically bite you. Control versus ownership. Again, same thing. So Centrelink will assess the trust assets based on who is the controller. Okay, so like I said before, it's the trustee of that trust, or the director of that company, it's trustee of the trust that essentially legally owns the assets. So again, if you're the appointer, those assets may be attributed to you.
You keep using that word may be attributed to you. There must be
So based on the strategy, so essentially, if we were to set up if you've got a family trust, and again, I'll talk about this, Sebastian will talk about as well. It's trivial to you if you are the person. However, if you're removed, so for example, if we did a deed of renunciation down here, and we removed that person from the trust, then they would be exempt. Potentially even the trustee, so there might be 2 trustees of that trust, and so you may remove one of those personal trustees. But effectively, it's only used.
But in basically, if you're a beneficiary, trustee, and want to appoint as a person with the power to appoint a trustee, the Social Security Department thinks that you've got that asset. So you're basically and doing that can create.
Obviously, there's the capital gains tax implications as well. So it's
you need a third party to be the
potentially, yeah, it's not this thing. It's not an easy world to navigate through. So yeah, but like I said, yeah, a CGT situation, stamp duty. So if you are thinking about selling various properties into trusts, there is going to be a capital gains tax and a stamp duty consideration, and that could be huge. So you have to really think about that, and that's why it's not something that you can take lightly. You have to talk to all the advisors and get the right information. Asset reduction strategies. So Sebastian told me not to speak about this because he's going to follow and carry on with it. But essentially, reducing the value of assets can lower the means tested care fees and potentially increase your pension entitlements, as we heard before. Income management strategies. Again, same thing. So yeah, how do we lower our assessable income? Well, going through these different strategies, Sebastian, to reduce daily income tested components, so you can get your age care fees. Tax offsets. So most of the people who are in that level there, the senior and pension tax offset remains a key tool for us in 2026. Single persons can provide a maximum offset of $2,200, potentially increasing your effective tax-free threshold to roughly 35,000 when combined with low income tax offsets. And that hasn't really changed. I mean, that's fairly straightforward. Touched on the timing of the family home and when we decide to sell it. So the 2-year exemption obviously applies. The home is automatically exempt from age pension asset calculations for 2 years and a half pension care. And we have this notion again of the consecutive person rule. So it's essentially the person that's living, the spouse is remaining, obviously living in the house or the long-term carer. If they continue to live in the home, then it's 100% exempt from both pension and age care assets. Now, obviously, CGT exemptions apply to main residences. So if we're selling our main residence, we know no capital gains tax there, but proceeds will become fully acceptable assets once the 24-month intent to reinvest period expires. So I think, Sebastian, you probably touch on that as well with regards to that sort of 5-year window as well, how that applies. So yeah, just some things to think about, steps to take. So obviously we're on that journey together. Seek professional advice, engage a financial advisor specialising in aged care and navigate all the tax, legal, social security rules. You'll see after listening to Alf as well that we should review our estate plans, update our wills, powers of attorneys to align with obviously our new trust structures we've put in place. Timing is everything as well. Begin planning at least 5 years. So if you've got anything out of my discussion tonight, 5 years, that 5-year number is important. To try and move assets into different vehicles to avoid penalties. And the last thing there, just considering annuity. So these can be sometimes used to provide steady income for you while you're reducing your total accessible assets. It's just a disclaimer there again. You don't use any of this against us. I just made it all up now. Should be right. But yeah, it's one of those things we have the team around us to obviously support us with all the information we need going forward. So I think, like I said, we're all in this journey together. If you want to go away from here and have a think about what needs to happen next, definitely reach out to Sebastian, and with Sebastian's help point us through to the right people. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel.